Chapter 8. Out of the scrub and onto the roof. "Hey, goose boy," said a voice. "There's a poison ivy in there." Evan looked up from the scrub to see Reed on the other side of the fence, staring back at him. Great, he thought, of all people. "Leaves of three, leave them be," said Reed, idly reciting the well-known advice about poison ivy. It was hard, and Reed sounded bored as he walked the fence with a branch he had torn off a tree. Evan expected him to keep working, but Reed looked like he had nowhere to go. Evan had been searching for his basketball for almost an hour, and he was hot and scratched up from the thorny bushes that tangled themselves throughout the scrub. In frustration, he said, "You could help me look." "I'm helping, I'm looking," said Reed, still walking at the fence and not looking for the ball at all. "But there ain't no way you're going to get me into the scrub. That's just a dump." Evan gritted his teeth. He wanted his basketball back, even if it meant his whole body getting covered in itchy, oozing poison ivy sores. It was his ball, and he wasn't going to lose it because of a kid like Reed. "Hey, there it is," said Reed, pointing with his stick to a spot where some thick bushes grew. Evan didn't see it, but Reed directed him deeper and deeper into the scrub. At one point, Evan thought he'd found it, but it was just a faded orange frisbee. He tossed the plastic disc over the fence and kept looking where Reed pointed. "There!" Suddenly, Evan saw it and grabbed the ball. He fought his way out of the scrub and scrambled over the fence. Reed was twirling the orange frisbee on his finger like a spinning plate. "You want to throw some?" he asked Evan. "No," said Evan. "I gotta go home." He hated this kid, hated everything about him, from the way he treated Stevie to the way he treated his own friends. "Come on, don't be a loser." Reed started to run across the field and shouted, "Go long!" Then, with one fluid movement that ended in a wicked flick of his wrist, he sent the frisbee soaring through the air. Deep in Evans' DNA, there was a coding that told him to catch things when they were thrown and to throw things that he'd caught. He was an instinct from his youngest days, and part of what made him a great athlete. His mother once told Evan he was part Labrador Retriever. Evan dropped his basketball and ran to catch the flying disc. He couldn't stop himself. "Over the shoulder, catch, awesome!" crowed Reed. "Throw it back." And Evan did. Reed was really good at frisbee. Better than Evan. They played for about 10 minutes, and then Reed said, "Hey, look," and pointed to the marshy area between the two schools. "I bet I can hit that goose." Reed started to measure the distance with his eyes and then took a few practice steps in the direction of the goose. "It's like a sitting dog, get it?" He laughed at his own joke. "Don't," said Evan. He took off toward the goose, hoping to startle her into the water. Reed winged the frisbee sidearm, low and hard. Evan couldn't reach the goose in time, but he threw himself forward, stretching his full body strength, and was able to block the frisbee in mid-flight. He banged his shoulder pretty hard on the grass when he landed, but the goose, sitting on her nest, was safe. "Ah, come on," shouted Reed, throwing his arms up in disgust. "I could have hit that thing." "Well, you didn't," said Evan, holding on to the frisbee while he retrieved his basketball. "Give me the frisbee," said Reed. "No," said Evan. "Come on," said Reed. Not unless you promise to leave the goose alone, said Evan, walking toward the school. You really are goose boy, said Reed, shaking his head with pity. Come on, give me the frisbee. No. Reed started walking toward him, and without thinking, Evan threw the frisbee with all his might. He was aiming for the high branches of the tree on the other side of the school. But his aim was off, and the frisbee landed on the flat roof of the school. Both boys stared at the spot where the frisbee had disappeared. Reed looked really angry. Evan wondered if he was about to get into a fist fight. His first ever. He'd broken up a few in his life, mostly playground squabbles between kids who were smaller than him, but he'd never taken a real swing at anyone. You're going up there with me to get that frisbee, said Reed. We can't go on the roof, said Evan. Didn't you hear me? I want that frisbee, and you're coming with me to get it. There was something truly dangerous about Reed. What kind of person threw something at a mother goose sitting on a nest full of eggs? Maybe the safest thing for the goose was for Evan to go up on the roof to keep Reed from exploding. Reed knew exactly how to get on the roof. It was clear he'd done this before. Behind the dumpsters was a metal fire escape ladder that hung 6 feet above the blacktop. Evan put down his basketball, and Reed gave him a one-up so that Evan could reach the lowest rung. Then Reed jumped. His vertical jump was surprisingly good, and shimmied up himself. The roof was riddled with balls, shoes, sticks, and other frisbees. Reed picked up the faded orange one, ignoring all the rest, and said, Now, we are going to play up here. If you don't catch what I threw and the frisbee lands on the blacktop, you lose. No, said Evan, I'm not going to do that. Evan immediately understood that the game would encourage each boy to throw the frisbee to a spot as close to the edge of the roof as possible, in the hope that the other boy wouldn't catch it in time. There was no fence to keep you from falling off the roof, not even a rise at the edge to let you know you were close to falling. This was a dangerous game, and Evan wanted no part of it. Do you know, asked Reed casually, tossing the frisbee vertically a few feet and catching it, that I can turn you into Albert anytime I want? I've been nice to you so far, but I don't have to be. Evan heard the words his mother had said to Evan and Jesse over the years. Don't let anyone tell you who you are or what you are capable of. But here on the hot loop with Reed standing between him and the ladder, those words didn't offer him any way out. He looked at the edge of the roof and saw the shimmering blacktop 12 feet below. You can't make me, said Evan. Sure I can't, said Reed with a low cackle. Things are different in middle school. Haven't you figured that out yet? I'm not a bad kid, Evan thought. I'm a natural-born leader. But he was staring to understand how things worked in this new place. What caused him to be a leader in elementary school was exactly what made him an outcast in middle school. The rules were different here, and everyone else had a head start on learning them. Reed backed up until his heels was resting on the edge of the roof. Go along, he said as he wound up. It was a gentle throw. The flat part of the roof wasn't much bigger than a basketball court. Still, the frisbee was sailing for the far edge, and Evan would have to run as fast as he could to catch it. How was he going to stop, even if he made it there in time? The surface of the roof was covered in pebbles, which meant there was no traction. At a full run, you would skid 6 feet before coming to a stop. Evan took off. He thought he could make the catch. The frisbee was making a slow arc through the hot mid-air. But even as he charged forward, Evan could tell that the point of intersection between the frisbee and his hands was going to be a few feet past the edge of the roof. He was going to fall. He should stop. He kept going. And then a soft breeze blew across the asphalt heel of the roof and lifted the frisbee higher. It was a back wind that slowed down the frisbee and caused it to hover at its highest point. This gave Evan the 3 extra steps he needed. He jumped, caught the flying disc, and pulled it into his chest as he skidded to a stop about 6 inches from the edge. Evan took 3 deep breaths, then wound up and threw the frisbee as high as he could so that it landed in a tree branch 50 feet off the ground. "Hey," said Reed, "you lose. You didn't keep the frisbee on the roof." "That wasn't the rule," said Evan, still panting. "You said if the frisbee lands on the blacktop, you lose." "Well, it's not on the blacktop, and it's never going to be." Evan walked past Reed to the ladder and climbed down. He picked up his basketball and he walked away. He heard Reed shout, "Bye, Albert."